This is not about a blow dryer, and if you thought it was, well, buckle up, Buttercup, because these conversations are hotter than that flat iron you're still wondering if you left on. I'm Kat, a hairstylist, educator, and one of the beauty industry's beautifully defiant misfits. This podcast isn't about viral hair trends, client bashing, or the latest formula for whatever shade of brown we're renaming this season. It's about the stories, the lessons, and the trial and error moments that shape careers, confidence, and the craft. So whether you're starting your journey in Cosmo School, thriving behind the chair, still finding your rhythm, or just looking for that push to get back on track, welcome to This Is Not About a Blow Dryer, where we talk beauty in a whole new way. Welcome back to another episode of This Is Not About a Blow Dryer. You've made it to season 2, new season, Confessions of an Apprentice, same host, me, Kat Soriano, mentor, educator, and stylist of almost 20 years behind the chair. Now, last season we talked Journey of a Cosmo Student, and as I chatted with you before, although it was a great journey and I felt really good kind of bringing forth some of those memories and really reminiscing, it became very apparent to me that Confessions of an Apprentice was really where my career and who I am and how I became shaped as a stylist started. So I'm really excited to share this with you because this is, I think, one of those latter moments that many beauty school students miss. Many times we think, I'm going to graduate school and then I'm going to go have this amazing clientele. I'm going to throw some hashtags on this post and boom, I'm fully booked. But there's a reason why, a big percentage of people end up dropping out of the industry. In fact, I was actually trying to find some exact percentages and numbers, and I couldn't find anything exact because federally, actually, the numbers aren't really followed. Like there's no actual numbers that say X percent quit after Y years. But I found that, for example, in a LinkedIn poll, it says that 28% of hairdressers quit within the first year of Cosmo student and 56% left by year 3. That's crazy. So more than half of people that are coming out of beauty school are quitting, stepping away, and starting something entirely new, which is absolutely insane to me because you've already put in so much time. There also wasn't any kind of clear tracking on continued education that potentially happens after beauty schools. You're probably able to track how many high school students go off to college afterwards. There's nothing about that when it comes to our industry that I could find. So if you could find it, please send it to me, email it to me. I would love to chat on it, but I could not find it for the life of me. And I also tried to find if there was like a percentage of apprentice programs. And again, honestly, there really weren't any solid numbers out there. And I also think that apprentice programs can be kind of a wide scope of things. I think of an old colleague of mine when we would talk about our apprentice experience. They were two different stories. Well, I talked about model hunting and like getting to work on shows and getting to work on models and getting to apprentice and learning how to like write out your formula cards and soft skills. She talks about picking up somebody's laundry and never actually really being able to do any hair and actually never even getting paid to do any of it. So I'm finding that you really need to be particular about what you're looking for. Which led me to my next thing, which is most beauty schools actually don't prep you for a solid interviewing skills. You might get like a mock interview, maybe a resume worksheet. You might get some basic tips on like professional dress or bringing a portfolio. And I don't even know if you guys do portfolios anymore. I can't say anybody that I've interviewed has come in with a portfolio. I know they're ready to show me their Instagram handle. So I think that's kind of where that's changed. But my biggest aha in it was beauty schools are designed to get you licensed, not placed. But have no fear because I'm here. So as I'm reading all of this, I thought to myself, what a great way to kick off Confessions of an Apprentice by sharing with you the interview. Through this, I'm hoping that maybe you're able to learn a little something from my interview process, the good, the bad, the ugly. Maybe I just make you laugh a little bit. But most importantly, I give you some tools and some things to look for when you're looking to present your best foot forward, but also ask a lot of the right questions. And before we get started, let's find our card of the day today, shall we? See kind of what we're feeling. Being kind is never wasted. Absolutely. Yeah. Be a good human. I love it. So let's get started. But first, we have to rewind because we have to take it back to late fall, winter of 2008. I finish up beauty school. I drag my feet a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, to get all my like licensing and tests done. And I do my research and I realize I find the place I want to do an apprenticeship. And of course, it is not in my small town, central Washington, middle of the map. It's in the Emerald City, Seattle, Washington. I find this amazing salon that basically has all of the things that I think I want. And if I'm entirely transparent, I remember looking at the online menu and seeing that haircuts started at $50, but the owner, I think his haircuts were like two something with a wait list of 6 months. Now, mind you, this is recession time. And I remember thinking, I don't know who that guy is, but I want books like that. I want to work for people like that who can obviously teach me how to really hustle and work in this industry. I emailed, I went online, I applied, and of course I applied in the worst time ever and somehow managed to get an interview at the beginning of December, which of course is the worst time to apply for anything long term because most people are looking for seasonal work or seasonal help. But nonetheless, I was like, I'm going to shoot my shot. Let's do this. So, for my first interview, I actually had come up to Seattle. I was staying with a friend of mine who was driving me into the city because although it doesn't, at that time, it didn't snow a whole lot in Seattle. That year, it snowed. It snowed and there was ice everywhere. And my interview was in downtown Seattle, which is really hilly, really slick. And this is also 2008, like I said, where it didn't matter what the weather was. I was going to be wearing some 4-inch heels, regardless of the weather. Keynote, I was dressed, right? I wanted to make a really great first impression. At that time, I find these days things can feel a little more casual, but I will tell you this right now. As somebody that sits in on interviews now and is on the other end of an interview, if you show up dressed to impress, I'm not saying you have to be wearing those 4-inch heels and you have to be uncomfortable out of your mind. But if you show up dressed to impress, makeup done, and just do that extra bit, I promise you, you will stand out in an interview. I made my way through those icy streets. I actually vividly remember some really nice gentlemen grabbing me by the arm and being like, let me help you, and walking me the last 2 blocks to get to Pacific Place where the salon was. I walked up, I was nervous, I had my resume. I didn't have a portfolio or anything of the sort. I also, I think, knew they weren't going to look at me and be like, yes, you can have a clientele here, because I didn't have a clientele. But, maybe somewhere in my head, I thought that could potentially happen. I get to my interview 15 minutes early. Yes, I was factoring in for time, but this is another thing that becomes really important. This is a first impression. I'm showing up 15 minutes early, which to me is on time. I'm showing this person I take it serious. I factored in time just in case weather was going to kick my butt. And she was actually able to take me early. So the most elegant woman I've ever seen, her name is Jody, and maybe she'll listen to this. I don't know, but hi, Jody. Thank you. She's gorgeous. She was like, I swear she looked like she was 6 feet tall. She had porcelain, beautiful skin. She had the coolest pixie, huge eyes, gentle smile, but like you could also tell her energy meant like, let's get down to business. Definitely this Miranda Priestley, like, don't mess with me kind of energy. I also remember thinking that I was walking in looking fresh in my skinny jeans, my 2-layered tank tops, probably with lace. And then I remember I had some kind of high collar, like tank top, silky something that I got at like Rue 21 or Forever 21. And I had these like peep toe 4-inch heels, no coat because it was again the 2000s and I'd rather freeze to death than not match. And I remember my hair was up. up in a ponytail, bad extensions, calico kitty stripes that I had done myself, side fringe, heavy side fringe, because obviously, again, we're in the 2000s, baby. Jody gave me a tour, and it was like every freaking stylist looked like they stepped out of a freaking fashion magazine. It was crazy. You know, you saw these like beautiful, elegant everything. And I'm not just talking like everybody was wearing high heels and super skinny fitted this and that. It's like you could tell the dress code was black. Everybody was dressed in black, but everybody's individual personal stylist stood out. So I had like tattoos and gauges and like parachute pants with combat boots, but then you would see like, you know, sleek silk like button ups with pencil skirts and pointy heels. I mean, it was organized chaos in the best of ways. Even though there was so much going on and there wasn't a chair empty in that salon, the waiting room was packed. It was so fluid. And I mean, the energy in there was crazy. But you know, you walk in thinking like, "Ooh, I am it. I look hot." And then you get humbled really quick when you're like, "Oh my gosh, like this is incredible." It was surreal. And it definitely even more so made me a little bit nervous in a good kind of way. This is what I want to be like. I saw these people, you know, cutting these perfect precision cuts, like not even breaking a sweat. And I remember even just walking by thinking like, I don't think I could ever cut hair like I hope I can cut hair like that one day. I don't How do they do it so confidently? And it was just such a validation of that is the kind of work and the kind of culture that is expected there. The expectation was set very clear and was held by everybody around me as I walked through. And it was clear that it was no joke. So I was nervous, I was excited, I was ready. And then she took me out and we started talking, and it was a conversation. She was like, "Okay, well, you know, you don't have a lot of experience, so we can't offer you even an audition as a stylist, but we do have an apprentice program. Let me talk you through the apprentice program." And she was significantly thorough. She was like, "You know, it is there's no guarantee that you will be a stylist here if you manage to make it through the apprentice program. Um but if you make it through the entire apprentice program, you're getting $10,000 worth of education." Our cutting director is Graham Breakwell. He used to cut hair at the Sloane Street Salon in Sassoon in London. You're taking classes with like these Framisi artists and this and that. I mean, it was legit. Then also she mentioned you do get paid, um, but the first 3 months that you're working, you'll just be apprenticing and helping the salon. You'll be cleaning, you'll be doing all of this just to make sure that you fit the pace and you fit the salon. And then once we have enough people hit that mark and are ready to start classes, we'll put you in shampoo and blowout classes. From there, you'll make your way into actual color and cutting classes. Cutting and color classes will be 2 days a week. You'll be at the academy for 8 hours a day. You're required to get all of your own models. It is paid. If you do not have a model, you get asked to leave. You have the opportunity to miss a model 3 times before we decide this program isn't for you. It's 100% on you to find your models. We don't provide those for you. We do expect live models, and you know they have specific requirements that they'll go over with you in class. I mean, she had a lot of information for me, and if I'm entirely honest, I she could have told me that like I had to ride an elephant to work and, you know, would have been painting with a spoon, and I would have been like, "Yes, I'm in," because I really wanted to work there and I knew they were offering some really awesome stuff. So I don't really remember having a whole lot of questions because she was so thorough in everything. But I wouldn't have honestly even known what to ask because I do remember going and talking to one of my educators at the beauty school and telling her that I was going to, you know, be interviewing for this apprenticeship. And she was like, "That's so cool. I don't think anybody from here has ever gone off and done something like that." I didn't really know what to expect. So I was really excited and happy that she had so much information, but which leads me to my next thing. If you are interviewing, make sure you are asking questions like, you know, What is the scheduled education like in your apprentice program? Do I need to find my own models? Do you assist me in finding models? Is it a paid apprenticeship? Am I getting paid to attend class? I, again, was very lucky that she gave me all of this information, but I'm finding more and more, especially when I compare my colleagues' stories, that that information isn't always there. People just think continued education and they're like, great, I'm going to keep learning. But unfortunately, it's not always learning here. So ask questions, be prepared, have your resume, look your best and show up early. Needless to say, Jody was like, I really like you. I would love to have you see the Bellevue salon. And I think it was that she wanted me to go meet somebody else there also. And so I was like, okay, great. Set up another interview for the second week. Now, that second week, there was even more snow that fell. And even though I was only about 10 minutes away from where my interview was in Bellevue, it took me an hour to still not make it to that interview. Luckily, cell phones were a thing. I was calling and keeping them up to date and keeping them informed. I was like, hey, I'm stuck in this crazy traffic. It's not moving. I can see the buildings. I'm not walking distance or anywhere close to get there. And eventually, she finally just said, you know what? Let's just go ahead and reschedule. I'll give you a call, which made my heart sink because I remember thinking, like, it was done. It was like, well, that was it. It's over. Like, cool, cool. But she did call. She did call and she scheduled a final meeting. And we did meet up actually at the Bellevue one, I believe. I won't forget this, and this is why I press so much the time thing, is she said, Kat, I usually if somebody is late or misses an interview, I just automatically ask them. But I really loved how early and precise you were at that first meeting. And I think that really set the tone in me to show me that that's actually the kind of person you are. You are the kind of person that communicates and you try to be really intentional, which is why I wanted to meet with you again. I think you would be a great fit. We're not going to bring anybody on until the new year, but pretty much stay tuned for we would love to offer you a place in the apprentice program and we'll do our 3-month trial period and then from there start putting you in classes, which I was stoked. The other thing that she said was, I really liked you. You had a great personality. You were able to really hold a conversation. And there's something about you that I really like. And I think that, we can really work with here. That's something I think that gets lost, especially please don't come for me for this. But I think soft skills are being lost more and more and more. And what I mean by soft skills is just the ability to make eye contact and have that conversation with somebody, is just being able to listen and respond with a sense of interest. And if we can't do that with each other, think about how difficult it becomes then to create that connection behind the chair. Now, on the flip side, as somebody, like I said, that will sit in on interviews, has interviewed solo and also even auditioned people to be stylists on the floor, the soft skills for me, somebody's ability to have a conversation with me, somebody's, how they engage with either their model, how they show up, how they present themselves, those are all things that sometimes can't be taught. I feel very confident as your educator that I can teach you how to cut a straight line. I can teach you how to formulate dead, drunk, or in your sleep. I can't teach you to learn how to make connections and make somebody feel at ease and make somebody like you with just the first 30 seconds. And although those aren't necessarily things that can be learned, I think they're things that you can be intentional about, things that you can practice. The interview wasn't so much about what I said during the interview because I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you the majority of the conversation Jody and I had. But I did lock it down because how I showed up, not just showed up as far as my look goes and my probably bad extensions and calico kitty stripes that I eventually ended up having fixed, but I mean in my presence, my posture, my confidence, enthusiasm, my excitement to want to know more. from her perspective, I like to think that she was thinking like, this is somebody that wants to grow. This is somebody that we can mold because she's excited. She wants this. And I think sometimes we get confused in the idea of like, well, I want it. I have more passion than this person. But there has to be that action and the exterior behind the want. So, although I wanted it, yes, I needed it, absolutely. I made sure that my actions of showing up 15 minutes early or calling to let them know I'm running behind, I'm stuck in traffic, I've been on my way. Those are actions that supported my want. Showing up with great posture and my resume and ready, those were actions that followed the want. So the soft skill isn't always just being a natural people person, it's being intentional and aligning your want with your action. At the end of the day, there's not just one way to interview, there's no perfect way to interview, but what you can have is awareness. Awareness of how you carry yourself, awareness of how you listen, awareness of how prepared you are, awareness of what you want, awareness of how to connect with the action, and how to respond when you don't know yet. The awareness in itself is a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned. It just requires preparation and discipline. Hopefully, my interview process as an apprentice helps you prep for your interview. But tell me about it. Tell me what it's like to be out there interviewing these days. Any questions for me, or have maybe your own interview story you want to share? Please feel free to email me. Let me know your stories. Let me know your questions. Was this helpful? Was this just me rambling? Chat with me, and I will see you next time when we have another conversation that's not about a blow dryer.